So today is the Q&A. Okay, let's go to the some of the questions that we have. And also, I think that tonight we don't have many questions, and if you want to write down any questions in the chat or even uh, on the mic, then you can do so. Huh? After we finish the first two questions or three questions. All right, let's go. So this is question one. It's a bit vague. According to this book in page 80, it says to live or to die is of equal value. Could Bhante please comment on this? To live or die is of equal value. Would that mean there is no striving to live anymore? Thank you. When I look at this question, when it was given to me in this way, then I've seen this book before every now and then, but I don't have it in my library. So I have to, in a way, download it from the internet. But this passage here, the question here asks, the questions here it asks is connected to the Buddha and the Arahants. They're connected to the Buddha and the Arahants. Therefore, it is good that for now we have to go to that particular passage to understand what is the meaning of this. To understand what is the meaning of the question, then only we can have a clearer idea of what is the question meant. But there will be a little bit of reading because the passage is, it's a paragraph, but it's a bit long. So I go to the next, this one for you to this one. Hopefully they all can put in everything. All right. Okay. The Buddha and all the other Arahants were completely free of desire, yet succeeded in doing many things far more useful than what any of us are capable of. If we look at accounts of how the Buddha spent his days, we find that he slept only 4 hours and spent all the rest of the time working. We spend more than 4 hours a day just amusing ourselves. If the defilements responsible for the desire to be and to get things had been completely eliminated, what was the force that motivated the Buddha and all the Arahants to do all this? They were motivated by discrimination. And here the word here, the wisdom here, I'm the one who put it inside there. The meaning is actually wisdom, coupled with goodwill or metta. Even actions based on natural body wants, such as receiving and eating alms food, were motivated by discrimination. They were free of defilements, free of all desire to keep on living in order to be this or to get that. But it did have the ability to discriminate between what was worthwhile and what was not for the motivating force that sent the bodies out to find food. If they found food, well and good. If not, never mind. When they are suffering with fever, they knew how to treat it and did so as well as possible on the basis of this knowledge. If the fever was quite overpowering and they were not strong, they recall that to die is natural. So whatever they lived or died was no significance to them. They were of equal value in their eyes. So this is the meaning. This is the passage of what the questioner trying to ask about. Of they live or died of equal value. So let us comment a little bit on this, since the question is asked based on these things. Now here we are talking about the Buddha and the Arahants. First of all, when we look into this, then we have to realize that one thing is that they are without desire. whether the sensual desire or any form of craving to be or not to be. To be means to have an eternal or rebirth and so on. And they don't have all those type of desire. So this is, first of all, we have important for us to understand. Secondly, is that arahants, they in a way they have certain degree of strong wisdom, strong clear wisdom, and that will dictate how their life, what they do and what they will not do. Sometimes for us we may find strange why he do this or why he or she don't do that. So because it's not motivated by the worldliness. The Buddha says this: Buddha and the Buddha and the Arahants, they are what we call done what has to be done. Done what has to be done, there's no coming back to be. That means they have done their work, their spiritual work, and they don't have to do any more further. Doesn't mean that they don't meditate, they still meditate. Even for the Buddha, we can see that from the accounts of the suttas, he still go for a retreat, Buddha. 2 weeks or 3 months retreat, even he's a Buddha. And here we are, not even here or there. We ask you to go to retreat, we don't want to go. So even the Buddha and the Arahants, they still go for their own retreat, even they have already done what has been done. So for their purpose is to have that peaceful mental state, a peaceful state of mind. Then you may think that, become an Arahant Buddha, they are not peaceful all the time, man. The Buddha has to work, the Arahant has to work, and so on. So they may not able to so-called enjoy, with an inverted comma, able to have that enjoyment of the peace of Nibbana or the peace of jhana. If they have a lot of duties, responsibility, teaching others, and so on. So they have a certain degree of peacefulness, but they don't have the degree of meditative peacefulness. So they still need to go to a retreat in order to have that meditative type of peace. So the Arahants, the Buddha also still need to do those things. Now, when they are free from this craving, in other words also, they are free from fear. Free from fear, that means in the sense that they are not afraid to die, and they are also not afraid to live. Sometimes there are people who are afraid of living because there are so many problems around us, and when we cannot able to resolve them, we see no light at the end of the tunnel. Everything is so dark, then we commit suicide because we cannot take the life anymore. What we are going through. So take a commit suicide or run away and so on. So they have, in a way, fear of living. Of course, for many of us, the opposite of fear of dying. Fear of dying in the sense that we're afraid of how we're going to die, and we do all kinds of things in order for us to, as if like sometimes we do not want to die. Especially like Chinese. Chinese, when they talk about death, it's a kind of like it's a very terrible thing for majority. For those who are in the Buddhism and you are more inclined into Buddhism, we talk about death all the time. But for Chinese, especially, they don't like to talk about death. It's a very taboo subject. So here, when we talk about life and death, there's a lot of fear behind it. So when there's a lot of fear behind it, when you fear of something, you want to attach of something else. If you have fear of dying, you attach of life, you attach to the life, you cling on to the life. Your clinging may be due to your family, due to your wealth, due to your or youthfulness. You thought that because you are youth, and then here I'm dying. How could this be, and so on. Then you attachment to all these things. Then they're afraid of dying. So all of us have, when we have this craving and fear behind it, we don't realize that how much of this attachment is so strong beneath it. In the front of it, we thought that we are happy, we are okay, we are this and we are that. But really, when it comes to really the death, although we say that we contemplate on death a lot and so on, but when it comes, you see that there's a certain degree of fear is there. Perhaps maybe it becomes less because of the reflection that we go throughout our lives about death and so on. Then maybe have less, but still there. You cannot compare it with a Buddha and the Arahants. When it comes to the Buddha and the Arahants, just because that they have done what has to be done, then they say that what they don't think in this way. Why should I live any more longer? Might as well I take my life and die. After all, if I take my life, there's no breaking of any precept. But they don't do that. Doesn't mean that they don't die. Doesn't mean that they don't attach to their lives. That doesn't mean that they attach to their life, because after all, everything has to be done. All the practice has to be done. It has already been done. So the Buddha and the Arahants doesn't just take their life because all these things. While they are still living, they're still living like the Buddha. Now, in the case of the Buddha, his duty is to impart the Dhamma to beings, as many as we can, as he can in his years of when he's living. That is to say, not just human beings, but also towards the Devas and Brahmas, and even a part of the animals kingdom too. So they impart, his duty is to do that. He signed up for it. In a way, you become a Buddha, you kind of like sign up for all these things. It comes with enlightenment, yes, but it also comes with imparting the Dhamma. But whereas for an Arahant, although he has already eradicated all the defilements, not Arahants can teach. Not all Arahants can teach. What you read in the suttas, some of the Arahants, they could teach, like the Buddha, like Venerable Sariputta or Moggallana and many others, they can teach. But not all Arahants can able to teach. They are enlightened in a way, but they are not capable of teaching. So not all Arahants not all Arahants are bound to teach. It's not part of the contract, because they are not inclined to do so. So sometimes devotees may think that how come not all monks are teaching? How come all monks are, they know how to practice and practice and practice, and how come they are not able to teach? Because teaching is another skill altogether. And practicing is another skill altogether. So not easy to find both comes together. Those who are meditating, practicing, or enlightened, and they're able to teach. Not easy to find. There are, of course, they're still around, but they are not easy to find. Some people, some monks or nuns, and they are good in talking, good in Dharma talks and all that. But when it comes into the practice, they are not capable. So therefore, the Buddha and the Arahants, they have, in a way, they eradicate the defilements, but when it comes to their teaching and all that, not really so. But then they go on living their life. And when they go on living their life, they live the life without the fear, not fear of living, without the fear of even dying. So when it comes to, like, for example, unforeseen sickness or unforeseen sickness, and they are face to face with death. The Arahants also, they are subjected to their karma. And sometimes their karma of their past, it can be called a destructive karma. It destruct, that means that all the life that is going through, and then it stops. A certain past life karma, it stops that particular karma, and it takes the Arahant's life also. So don't underestimate this karma. It still works. But even then, for that type of death is suddenly, comes in, like a heart attack, for example, if it's the Arahant go through a heart attack and suddenly he is out of breath and he dies, at that time, even when it comes to the death, the mind is without fear. For us, without the Arahantship and without, then after that we want to die. See lah, this and that go. All my asset, I haven't paid my will yet. I haven't said goodbye to all my family member. How like that? Then a lot of fear. A lot of things will go through for all of us. For them, there's nothing to hold on anymore. So when it comes to death, we are equally open about. They are equally open. Whether it is life or this is death, because of without the craving is there. So for us, it will be good that every now and then we reflect on death. Every now and then, even if you are young, even if you are in your 20s, even in your 30s, 40s, what more when you are in the 60s, 70, 80, 90, and so on, then it will be good that if you reflect on death frequently, it will help us to reduce that fear. You will help us to reduce that fear. So that time when the time comes for you to die, then you don't have to have so much worry. Then if you don't have so much worry, perhaps next life will be a better rebirth. If you have attached to all your belongings and all your family members, and you're attached to all your bank account or your shares not disposed, this and that, how come I in such a youthful life, everything is right in front of me, and here I am down with sickness, down with heart attack, down with stroke or whatever, and then therefore, so that one we have to consider it well. So we have to consider well that our life anytime can go. So when we do that, we reduce our fear. So this is what it means on the question here. To live and die is of equal value, because they don't have attachment, they don't have fear of living or even dying. All right. Okay. This Buddhadasa is a this Buddhadasa, he stayed in Swanmok in Surat Thani, I think, in Thailand. Passed away a long time ago, I think. A long time ago. Yeah.